It is Monday, July 27th, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Buck Reynolds, and I'm here to make sure the Silicon drivers don't steer us into a ditch.
This is Dan Miller.
I'm Elena Rossi. And I'm Jules Sterling. We have a great show for you today.
Before we jump into the fire, yesterday we looked at that massive $600 million verdict against C.H. Robinson and how the market's flipping to a carrier-led cycle.
Look, it was a heavy session, but today we're keeping that momentum, tracking the Strait of Hormuz blockade and a tech-heavy pivot in fleet maintenance that's actually working.
It's a bit of a fragile calm out there, Buck. We're seeing military pauses in the Middle East, but the shipping lanes, actually, they're still a total disaster zone. It's a Texas-sized paradox, right? High rates, but spot prices are softening just a tiny bit. It's like the industry is holding its breath, sort of waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Well, the thing is, the Red Sea is basically a secondary battleground now. The Houthis have this new maritime embargo on Saudi vessels. Here's the deal. It's messy.
The play right now is watching the Drewry Index. It's down 4% to about $4,300. Still nearly double what it was last year, though. High floor, right?
Right. And Maersk is already signaling those emergency fuel surcharges for August 1st. Whatever we save on the spot rate, we're going to pay back at the pump, or the bunker. My thing is, the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed to non-sanctioned traffic. You can't just diplomacy your way out of a physical blockade. It's a risk manager's worst nightmare.
It's like playing prevent defense when the other team has 3 elite receivers. You're just waiting to get burned. Shippers are front-loading everything just to stay alive.
I mean, I've seen some tight spots, but this? It's enough to make a seasoned driver want to just pull over and garden. But we can't do that.
Now it's time for Diesel Dispatch, our Monday segment where we break down why your fuel card is screaming at you.
Here's the deal on the numbers. The national retail average for diesel hit $5.13 a gallon today. That is a 34-cent jump in 7 days. Brutal.
Look, that's a massive move. Brent crude is bouncing around $95, but the real story is the crack spread. Refiners are laughing all the way to the bank.
Distillate inventories are 11% below the 5-year average. I mean, we are structurally thin. One more drone strike, and that $5 mark is going to look like a bargain. I suppose that's why the owner-ops are panicking, right? A 34-cent spike wipes out the margin on a 2,000-mile haul before the check even clears.
The thing is, my guys are looking at a $1,300 fill-up for a standard setup. We just snapped a 10-week downward trend. It's a haymaker to the chin.
Shippers are feeling the lag, too. Most surcharge programs are a week behind. For the next 7 days, the carriers are just eating that spread. It's a cash flow burn.
Actually, if you didn't lock in your contract rates with a fuel peg, your third quarter margins are officially underwater. It's not just a crude problem anymore. Is it a capacity problem? I mean, are we going to see trucks parked just because they can't afford the trip? That's what I'm hearing from my smaller accounts.
Absolutely. It's the ultimate filter. Only the most efficient fleets survive this kind of vertical move in fuel costs. The bottom line is, it's a bloodbath.
Well, that's Diesel Dispatch for this week. Try not to look at the signs when you pass the truck stop.
Speaking of efficiency, have you guys seen what Oracle is doing with the Department of War? $7 billion for cloud and procurement software? That is a lot of zeros. It's about the fragmentation tax. Large organizations are tired of having 10 different systems that can't talk to each other. They're centralizing the whole stack.
It's the same thing we're seeing with Boeing and Pelico. They're using AI for the C-17 maintenance. No more spreadsheets. It's about orchestrating the hangar, not just fixing parts.
Pelico? Is that another one of those Silicon Valley-style platforms? I mean, can it tell if a wheel bearing is failing by the smell? Probably not.
Maybe not the smell, Buck, but it tracks material shortages in real time. It tells the mechanics what to prioritize so the planes aren't just sitting there collecting dust.
My thing is, fleets are actually ditching Google. They're moving to specialized platforms like truckdown.com to find vendors. They're reporting a 70% improvement in uptime.
Look, general search engines are for finding a pizza place, not a specialized reefer mechanic in the middle of Nebraska. You need a verified network when the clock is ticking.
Right. It's moving past visibility as a buzzword and into actual execution. If the tech doesn't get the truck back on the road, it's just noise.
Well, if it keeps the guys from sitting in a lobby for 10 hours, I'm all for it. I just hope they don't forget how to use a wrench.
If I may, let's talk about physical infrastructure for a second. Georgia is actually building truck-only lanes on I-75. 41 miles of barrier-separated asphalt.
No tolls either. That's the wild part. It's $3.5 billion, and GDOT thinks nearly every truck on that corridor is going to use them.
I mean, trucks are 30% of the traffic there. A 40% reduction in delay by 2030? That would be a miracle for my Atlanta-bound accounts.
I've driven that stretch 1,000 times. It's a mess of four-wheelers weaving in and out. Having our own space? That sounds like a dream. A very expensive dream.
It's a proactive move. We're seeing the industry move toward dedicated infrastructure because the mixed-use model is just, well, it's failing. Too many accidents, too much liability.
It's the first in the U.S. to go this big. If Georgia pulls this off, you're going to see South Carolina and Florida jumping on the bandwagon fast. It's a productivity play.
Before we get into the rail side of things, a quick note for the listeners. Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering. This show is powered by the Stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
Support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Neural Network Media for a free trial and access to our daily briefing PDF.
It's the best way to keep this pirate radio energy going without the corporate filters. Check it out.
All right. Pivot to the rails. Canadian National just crushed their Q2 earnings. EPS of $2.08. People are ditching trucks for trains because of those fuel prices.
It's the substitution story, right? Domestic intermodal is up over 7%. Shippers are desperate to find any way to avoid the diesel surcharges we just talked about.
I mean, CN is running longer trains, more disciplined. Tracy Robinson, the CEO, she's raised the outlook for the year. The rail guys are the ones winning the fuel war.
Actually, they're seeing a 13% increase in crew productivity, too. They're doing more with less, which is exactly what we need when the road is this volatile.
But look, the feds are also launching this Freedom Haulers thing. They're trying to recruit military veterans to fill the seats of all the drivers they've been purging lately.
It's a high-stakes workforce initiative. They need disciplined people to handle the new regulatory environment. It's sort of a way to stabilize the industry from the inside out.
I like the idea of vets behind the wheel. They know how to follow a protocol. My thing is, will the pay be enough to keep them there? That's the real question.
If the rates keep climbing like they are, the pay won't be the issue. It'll be the capacity.
Which brings us to the main event. Knight Swift, the big dog, reported a huge beat this week. Their spot rates actually exceeded contract rates for the first time since 2022.
That is a massive inflection point. I mean, Adam Miller said it was a rapid progression. June was just off the charts for their over-the-road revenue per mile.
The thing is, they're calling it a regulatory purge. It's not that demand is through the roof. It's that the FMCSA and the courts are killing off the weak carriers.
It's a supply-driven recovery. We aren't seeing more freight, we're just seeing fewer trucks. The survivors are finally getting that pricing leverage back. It's a fourth quarter rally.
And then you have that $604 million verdict in Dallas. C.H. Robinson got hit hard. A jury found the broker 68% responsible for a fatal crash.
It's terrifying for the brokerage side. If a driver tells you he's too sick to drive and you move the load anyway, that's what the jury sees. They see negligence.
Well, that's what I always say. You can't just move a load at any cost. That driver explicitly reported he wasn't fit. The broker just ignored the risk for a few extra bucks.
Look, the satisfactory rating defense is dead. You can't just point to the DOT website and say they said he was fine. You have to do your own due diligence now.
My thing is, this verdict is going to change how every broker in America vets their carriers. They're going to be looking at safety scores like they're the logistics Bible.
Does this mean the small carriers get squeezed out? If brokers are too scared to use anyone but the top 1%, what happens to the independent guys?
Here's the deal. It forces everyone to level up. If you're a small guy with a bad safety record, you're done. But if you run a clean shop, you might actually get paid what you're worth.
It's a total reset of the relationship. Handshakes are great, but the court wants to see the code and the compliance. Freight moves on data now, just as much as diesel.
Actually, Samsara just hit a $2 billion milestone in annual recurring revenue. Physical AI is taking over. They're automating the execution because humans are too risky.
Oh, come on, Elena. Humans aren't that bad. We're just sort of messy sometimes. But that's why we have these high-tech control rooms, right?
Well, you can have all the AI in the world, but when a storm hits in Wyoming, I still want a guy with 20 years experience behind the wheel, not an algorithm.
Look, Buck, the algorithm doesn't get sick or ignore a safety manual. It's the play for the future. Shippers want predictability, and right now, the road is anything but predictable.
I suppose we'll see if the tech can survive a $600 million lawsuit. Complacency is the precursor to catastrophe, and the industry just got a massive wake-up call.
It's been a busy day in the ops room. From blockades in the Red Sea to truck-only lanes in Georgia, the circulatory system of this nation is under some serious pressure.
But we're still moving, right? The intermodal surge and the tech upgrades show we're adapting. It's a fascinating time to be in logistics, even if it's a bit stressful.
The bottom line is stay liquid and stay compliant. If you can do those two things, you'll survive the purge and be there when the rates really take off.
Well, I'm going to go check on my vintage CB radios. Maybe listen for some real-world intel from the guys actually doing the work. That's all for today's High Road. That does it for us on the High Road, Logistics and Leadership. We've covered everything from $5 diesel to the $600 million lawsuit hanging over every broker's head. Stay safe out there, keep your eyes on the road, and your spreadsheets tight.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Later.
Remember, a clean truck is a profitable truck. See you next time.